Welcome to Titan HST's Business Continuity Today, hosted by Todd DeVoe, where planning meets reality.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. And I'm Todd DeVoe. I'm the Director of Emergency Management at Titan HST. I've been involved in responding to emergencies, for a very long time now. And in addition to the work I do at Titan HST, I'm an educator at the post-secondary level. And learning and sharing what I love to learn is a passion for me. So welcome to Business Continuity Today, where we will continue to learn together. Today, we're talking about trust. And why we want to kill the messenger at times. But before we get into that, we want a couple of things here. This week, Thanksgiving. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And as we look at this, we have to reflect on things that we've done throughout the year and who we're thankful for. But one of the things that I really would like everybody to do, and I put a challenge out there, is to donate to your local food bank. And it's been one of the things that I think has been important in my life is to support those in need, especially during this time of year, during the holidays. And if you can donate, whatever you can donate, I'm not putting in a dollar amount down for anybody to match or anything like this. But I've done a couple things in the past where I go and I buy a bag of groceries from our local grocery store, or to actually sponsoring a family for their groceries. And I think something like that if you can do it, if you have the ability to do it, please do. I think it's great for us to do this. It's also during this time in a year when people are in need. It's a great gesture. Also, we lost a wonderful person this week. I had an EMT student. Her name was Deborah Lynn, and she's one of those people that come into your life that you don't forget who she is. And when I was teaching EMT way back in the day, she was one of my students, and I always go around the room and say, hey, what do you want to do? Why do you want to become an EMT? And she was a little bit older when she was going through the program. And most of the kids and stuff and people in there were like, oh, I want to be a firefighter. That's what I want to do. And got to her and she said, I just want to make a difference in people's lives. And it really took me back because it's, really don't hear that most of the time when it goes for people who go into the program. Now I know becoming a firefighter or police officers make a difference in someone's life, but it wasn't for her. It wasn't about a step up career. It was like, this is what she wanted to do, whether, she was making a ton of money at it or a little bit of money. And I really she gave me a lesson in compassion for humanity, and she's really going to be missed at this time. Deborah Lynn, you're going to be missed in our family. My condolences to the family, and definitely a sad time here for our community. Well, let's talk about experts. I've been told once that the expert is the person in the room that has 5% more than the rest of the people. I probably said this a few times through here because it makes a lot of sense, right? And I don't know if it's true or not, but the illustration does make sense. You see, I know some about a lot. However, I'm only an expert in a little. And what happens a lot of times where people can get themselves in the hot water is because they know some about a lot, they tend to say, oh, I'm the expert. I'm the Cliff Clavin, if you will, of the world, right? Where they have a bunch of good knowledge. And I joke about myself sometimes because I do read a lot, and I love watching like the History Channel and things like this, and National Geographic, right? So I've learned all these like little tidbits. I'm very good at Trivia Pursuit. If you need me on your team, I'm happy to play. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're an expert. And I think about this. I know a lot about the U.S. legal system. I'm a policy guy. I went to school for policy. I learned about public policy, how to make public policy, what it means, how to implement it. And then as a public administration guy, you learn how to be able to take that policy and make it work for the people, right? But because I know a lot about legal stuff when it comes to laws that apply to especially emergency management stuff, you definitely would not want me to be your lawyer because I have not attended law school. However, if you want me to weigh in on how the policy or law can be used in the case of a disaster or recovery from an event or mitigation, how those things work, I have a very strong working knowledge. I have case studies that go in there. I could turn to the knowledge that I have and to the policy work I've done in the past to really give you a good outline on how things should work. And this is what we should be doing as emergency managers and business continuity experts and crisis managers is taking a look at the stuff that we know well, right? And becoming that go-to person as a subject matter expert. I teach classes, for a couple different colleges. I teach on disaster social policy and how the policy impacts the people, the communities, and the environment. I teach about disaster recovery. I teach about response. I was a first responder for a major part of my life, and I've been a policy guy for a long time. And I've delivered babies. I've delivered puppies. I've helped deliver a cow once, and I've also observed a house giving birth. A horse, not a house. A horse giving birth. And the reason why I bring up these other things is because just because I've done all these, right? What we do sometimes is we mistake our experiences with being an expert in those areas, right? Now, I rolled up my sleeves to help people dig out from debris flow. I cleaned up after major fires and pulled trees off the road and back. However, I'm not going to say that I'm an expert in public works, right? So as we equate these experiences with being an expert, this is kind of where we get into trouble. And this is when you have people that kind of play loose with what the facts are. And we're talking about building trust. See, we have a political class today that keeps playing fast and loose with facts. And what happens when people start playing fast and loose with the facts? People stop listening. So it's critical for us as experts in one area of our lives not to have what I like to call mission creep, right? We need to really focus on what we do well. I talked about that before when I discussed the idea of knowing your weaknesses and strengths. And I'd have to say this is one of those times. Understand what you do well and not have that mission creep come across. Because just because you're expert in one area, right, might have some knowledge in other, doesn't mean that you're necessarily an expert. You have to be able to surround yourselves with those that have the expertise in those areas. So when you're building trust, it's okay to say you don't know. It's okay to say that you're going to want to find out. It's okay to say, hey, this is something that's beyond anything I've ever done before, and let's bring somebody in. It may feel like that blow to the ego. Excuse me. However, it's critical that people know that you're comfortable not knowing all the answers. And saying so is okay. As an expert, you need to know when you need to have more people on the case. That's beyond your skills and beyond your knowledge. My friend asked me if a certain process could be done with a video. He wanted to do this cropping and bring things in. I told him I didn't know how to do it. And I stated it clearly. I said, I don't know how to do it, but it doesn't mean that it can't be done. So since in my circle, I'm the go-to person for video editing, I have some limited skills in that area. I know about 5% more than my friends do. Does that make me the expert in the room? Well, maybe for my friends, but it doesn't make me an expert in video editing. I hope you all have a wonderful time with your families this week. Life is too short to argue. Give your loved ones a hug. Tell them that you love them. From all of us here at Titan HST, have a great Thanksgiving and have a happy Hanukkah if you observe. Thank you for being with us today. And visit Titan HST for all your communication needs. And remember to follow us on your favorite podcast player, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and join us next week. Until then, stay safe and stay hydrated.